TJ yeah. Straight up, let's go. Welcome to Straight Up TJ. Tap in, sit back, press replay. Been locked in with the Saints on a weekday. Now we talking every sport, every big play. Years on the grind, now we level up the view. From the dome to the world, get a better look at you. No script.
Hey, what's going on? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, and welcome to another edition of the Straight Up TJ Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, making the Straight Up TJ Podcast a part of your listening pleasure. Shouts out to everybody that's here. Sorry, I'm running a little bit behind, man, trying to do a little bit of behind the scenes things and still doing a little bit of behind the scenes things. And just want to be able to give everybody a good listening and viewing experience here. But all in all, man, I want to say thank you all for checking out this show. On this edition, we're going to be discussing Saints running back Alvin Kamara. This topic comes from an interview that Mad Dog Sports Radio did with Saints general manager Mickey Loomis, and we're going to break that down and talk a little bit about is Alvin Kamara part of the Saints 2026 plans. And, I put a little filler out there on social media, on X. And, of course, people have mixed emotions about this. We're going to get into that. Also, we're going to talk about K'Lavon Chaisson and his comments that he made about the New Orleans Saints and him making a decision to not join the Saints. And we're also going to be talking about Martin Emerson, the recent signing of the New Orleans Saints, the cornerback from the Cleveland Browns. We'll get into that topic as well. But you already know, man, hit the like button. Hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. Hope everybody is having a good night so far. We're recording this. Well, we're not recording. We're actually live streaming this on a Wednesday night. And I hope everybody is enjoying their Wednesday. Had a really good day. I was actually off from work today. Just watched my boy Pac-Man out there, play his second game of baseball. He's doing a really good job, man. Really got after it today. Very proud of my little man. And I want to give a special shout out to everybody that has been chiming in about the show. We reached a milestone. As of today, we reached 13,000 subscribers. That's right, 13,000 subscribers. And I want to say thank you all. And some people will probably look at that and ho-hum. But when I think about the fact that I'm small potatoes over here when it comes to the Saints content, I'm not boots on the ground all the time. But, we just had to do it the hard way. And for us to have 13,000 subscribers here on the channel, I think that's a testament to everybody that believed in this channel. I think that's a testament to everybody that believed in me. And also it's a testament to me. That's right, God dog it, because your boy be out here in these streets trying to give you all what you need. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you all. I know y'all probably wondering, what's with the church announcements, but it's just to get everybody to file in. So when you file in, go ahead and hit that like button because we about to get underway. And I know a lot of people like, man, I missed what we were talking about. So I'm just trying to give everybody an opportunity to be able to listen in. But, man, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. Talk a little bit about AK, man. Talk a little bit about Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara, as we know, is, in a lot of people's opinion, the greatest running back in New Orleans Saints history. It depends on who you talk to. Some people would say Deuce McAllister. Some people would say Mark Ingram. Somebody was, most people would probably say Alvin Kamara. I mean, since 2017, Alvin has been a part of the Saints, and he has been a key part of not only the Saints organization, but the city. Everybody loves Alvin and how much of a free spirit he is. Alvin was, known synonymously for walking down the street, downtown New Orleans by himself, man. No entourage, no nothing, just like a regular Joe Blow, and making himself as accessible as he has throughout the years. He has become a fan favorite. But just like any other player that has played a long time in the National Football League, conversations start to happen about, is he in the future of a franchise? And we've seen this when it comes to Demario Davis. We've seen these talks happen when it comes to Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan is still unrestricted free agent as of today, and guys like Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara is among those guys, because we're talking about cornerstone players and guys who have been synonymous with the Saints over the past almost decade. And, Alvin Kamara is one of those guys that you got to have this conversation. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play a clip. This is where this comes from. General Manager Mickey Loomis was on a Mad Dog Sports Radio podcast or, radio station, and they did an interview with him, and he talked a little bit about the future of Alvin Kamara. He was kind of, close to the vest with it, but the question was asked about where does he see Alvin Kamara when it comes to the plans of the New Orleans Saints in 2026. This is a little of what he said.
I think Travis and Alvin can function together as a host of weapons on this team. I'm curious, what was Kamara's reaction to that incredible move you made, bringing in Travis Etienne? And is Alvin definitely going to be on the New Orleans Saints this year?
Yeah, I think we're still trying to, work through that to see where we're at roster-wise. And look, there's a couple areas there that we've got to, work through. So I'd rather not comment on it right now, but it's certainly an exciting possibility.
I know you don't want to comment too much on Alvin, but is it something where, you guys are on the same page? Is it something where other teams are picking up the phone? Just in terms of where that is right now, in terms of taking the temperature on that conversation and relationship.
Yeah, I'd rather keep that to myself at this point, Adam. It's a good question, but I think those are private conversations, at least at this point.
I mean, credit to Adam for trying to ask the question, even though we all know that Mickey Loomis wasn't going to give him an answer. That's just not the way that Mickey Loomis operates. Mickey Loomis is a guy that keeps things close to the vest. We know that he has made a career out of kind of beating around the bush and circling the wagon, so to speak, giving you a lot without giving you anything at all. And I didn't expect for him to come out and say anything. I just think that it's very telling. Rather, some Saints fans want to agree or not, I think it's very telling that neither Kellen Moore nor Mickey Loomis has come out and just said, without a shadow of a doubt, Alvin Kamara is a part of the plans in 2026. And, this is something that needs to be discussed, because if we're going to be real about it, we know that Alvin Kamara has been nicked up over the past 4 seasons. He's been nicked up, man. Whether you want to admit it or not, he has been nicked up. I want you to pay attention to this graphic right here. Alvin Kamara since 2022, right? He's missed 2 games in 2022, 4 in 2023, 3 in 2024, and 6 in 2025, giving him a total of 15 games missed over that span, and he's played in 53 games. And we see the production, kind of fluctuate a little bit. Now, some people would probably say that the main reason why Alvin Kamara is getting nicked up, the reason why Alvin Kamara's yard per carry is going down, has a lot to do with the offensive line. But, I chunk it up to that a little bit. But this is a guy who is 30 years old, going to be 31 years old at the start of the season. And this is a young man's game. The New Orleans Saints are trying to get younger. The New Orleans Saints are trying to get better on both sides of the football, and they understand that they have to be more explosive, and they have to invest in the future. Not so much in the now, but in the future, because we're talking about the New Orleans Saints trying to become contenders once again. The New Orleans Saints haven't made the postseason in 5 seasons. That's half of a decade, ladies and gentlemen. And the New Orleans Saints aren't trying to be in that position. Now, some Saints fans would get upset because we're talking about your favorite player. And this was why I kicked back with some of you Saints fans. And this is probably why when some of you are going to tune out. But personally, I don't give a damn, because it needs to be said. You need to get your damn emotions out of the equation, because most of you look at Alvin Kamara and from a sentimental standpoint, you think about the guy and what he has done for the New Orleans Saints and how long he's been with the team, and maybe he signed your jersey or something like that, or maybe he was walking down the street and took a picture with you. But at the end of the day, none of that stuff matters in the grand scheme of things when it comes to football being a business. I'm going to say that again. Football is a business. Okay? The hell with your feelings. Football is a business. If you see a player like Cam Jordan, who has given his heart and his soul to the New Orleans Saints organization, and as of right now, he's an unrestricted free agent, and the New Orleans Saints have not made a deal with him. If somebody like Cam Jordan is on the street and he had 10.5 sacks last season, why can't we have this conversation about Alvin Kamara? Because I'm going to be real. What has Alvin Kamara been doing over the last 4 seasons other than being Alvin Kamara? This is my problem when it comes to some of these statements that a lot of you are making. He's making it off namesake. Like, if we were honestly, if we had no skins on the wall, if we had if we didn't care less, right? If we had complete detachment from the New Orleans Saints, if we're just talking about the Buffalo Bills, if we're talking about the Baltimore Ravens, and I gave you the same stat line that Alvin Kamara has had, missing games, yards per carry, you know what you're going to say? Man, they may need to move on from that. But the fact that you actually like this guy is the fact that while you're up here standing in the trenches and standing on the front line for him, if we're being realistic from a business perspective, it's a conversation to have. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility if the New Orleans Saints, were to say to Alvin Kamara, you know what, man, we decided we want to go in a different direction because of the lack of durability and the diminishment of production over the last couple of years. I just don't like the fact that people are making it seem like this isn't a conversation to have. Like, this isn't 2018 Alvin Kamara we're talking about. And the Saints were well within their rights to sign Travis Etienne to be their feature back going forward, because that's what the New Orleans Saints are doing right in front of your face. The New Orleans Saints are showing you they want to get younger. Every player that the New Orleans Saints have brought in, from a free agent standpoint, from a draft standpoint, all of these guys are 25 years and younger. So what does that tell you right there? Whether you want to admit it or not, the Saints are trying to get younger. And also the hypocrisy of some of you crying and whining over the last 4 to 5 seasons, talking about how the New Orleans Saints need to get younger, how the New Orleans Saints players defensively and offensively can't match up with the modern day NFL players that are younger and faster, all these different things. Now, all of a sudden, we're talking about somebody or something that clings to your heartstrings. Now, all of a sudden, we can't have this conversation. It's not blasphemous to have this conversation. And I'm not saying that the New Orleans Saints need to cut ties with Alvin, but I laugh at some of you making it seem like this isn't a conversation to have. Like, in what world, in what business is a person that has a diminishment when it comes to their production at any job? You won't have a conversation like, man, we need better performance. Maybe we need to have a conversation about maybe getting somebody else in here. That's in any walk of life. But all of a sudden we like somebody, now we can't have this conversation? Because I can tell you, Travis Etienne is going to be the feature back of the New Orleans Saints. Alvin Kamara is going, if he was to stay, he's going to be behind Travis Etienne. And maybe Alvin doesn't care about that. He doesn't seem like he does. But at the end of the day, it's like the Saints have already made their decisions. So some of you need to just realize that and keep it moving. Like, it's funny. Like, I'm looking at these comments of people like, man, he ain't going nowhere. Man, y'all need to lay off my boy. That completely disqualifies you right there. When you say my boy, my dude, like that goes to show you right there, like you're speaking from an emotional perspective. Like when somebody starts saying my dude, my guy, like you speaking from an emotional perspective. But if you want to come into the business world with some of us, the easier these decisions will be. You can appreciate what a player has done in the National Football League and for your favorite team, all the while realizing that the team has to make necessary decisions, whether you want to admit it or not, for your sanity and for your viewing pleasure. Because you're asking for the New Orleans Saints to make changes. All right? You can't ask somebody to remodel your house and say, oh, man, I don't care what you do, man. I just don't want my house to look this way, man. Look, you think we can do anything we want? Yeah, man, just make it look good. Then all of a sudden, you see the sledgehammer going into the sheetrock, and all of a sudden, no, whoa, wait a minute now. Like, you ain't telling me you're about to use a sledgehammer. What do you think they're talking about when they talk about remodeling a house? Of course they're going to use a sledgehammer. They got to tear this thing down. So you can't talk about wanting to rebuild and then get upset about how the remodeling process goes. It don't work like that. If you want to rebuild for the New Orleans Saints, embrace it. If you want the New Orleans Saints to turn the page for some of these aging players, embrace it. Unless you were just talking out your behind the whole entire time and you just wanted to put something out there hoping that it stick. But I'm a firm believer. If you're going to say something, stand on freaking business. And you can't get mad at how change takes place. Plain and simple. So it's laughable to have a conversation about a guy who is going to be 31 years old at the start of the season, 451 yards last season with 1 touchdown and missed 6 games, thinking about where his future stands. Like, I think it's funny that you even think that's not even worth a conversation. The New Orleans Saints are doing something that needed to be done, and some of you have to embrace that. So I'm sorry, but I haven't seen nepotism. Excuse me. I never seen nostalgia. There we go. I never seen nostalgia win no Super Bowl. Keeping guys around and all that kind of stuff. Why? So you can run out the smoke and make you feel good. All the while, not being a player that he needs to be. It can be somebody else maybe picking up that slack. Or maybe, you can find somebody that can be that feature back. Man, I care less about nostalgia. I'm just keeping it a buck. Like, if you're at this stage and you've been watching the New Orleans Saints over the last 5 seasons, you probably feel like, man, I just want this team to win. And if you don't feel like that, you want, you just want the same, you want the same old hits, right? You want to see all those nostalgia acts just come out here just for the simple fact of doing some type of trademark move or whatever. Like, I just think that you're missing the mark. You can appreciate a person, you can wish them well, but all the while understand what this team is trying to do. It's business. It's business at the end of the day. So some people, they just have to keep their feelings in check. Plain and simple. He ain't going nowhere. Etienne will get the boot before Kamara. Nino Brown says, it's always business, never personal. Anyone reach a new milestone, I got to show my appreciation to them like they did me. I appreciate that, Jerry. And thank you, man. And congratulations to you, close to 1,100 subscribers, man. Let's see. I don't have a problem with him finishing out his contract this year. I don't have a problem with it either. I don't have a problem with it. But to say that it's not something that needs to be explored that's my stance. I'm not saying that you need to just kick him to the curb, but to not have a conversation as if this is a guy who has been the epitome of durability. And, oh, man, like you got to have this conversation. It's worth having. It's like somebody not showing up to work, right? I mean, they come sometimes, they show up sometimes, they don't. Like, you just going to sit up there and say, man, this guy been here 10 years, man. Just let him do what he do. No, you're going to be like, man, we need y'all here. So it's a conversation worth having. Nobody's saying anything about kicking anybody to the curb. You the only one. Says this will be Kellen Moore's last year. Well, we'll see. I doubt it. Rather the Saints are good or not, I doubt it's going to be his last year. TJ Rappin taking out that Slack feature back. Let's see. We had playoff success with no rings with nostalgia players. Facts. Just checking in. Appreciate that, Trey. Appreciate you for checking in. Corey says AK lost about 4 years of his career messing around with DA. I agree with that. I mean, that offensive line was trash, and it seemed like the New Orleans Saints are trying to repair it. But TJ, how excited you is to see Tyson in the preseason? I don't think you're going to see much of him, but yeah, it's going to be good to see whatever he does in the preseason. You know, it's good for whatever he does in the preseason, but I don't think you're going to see much. Healthy dialogue, fam. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Man, look, I say this all the time. I mean this wholeheartedly. I don't look at none of this stuff from a personal perspective. Like, at the end of the day, like, because these teams are going to do what's best for these teams, and these players need to do what's best for these players. Like, when I have conversations about people, and it's like, you know, like when I start talking to people that are fans of the team, and they start, you know, looking at it from a sentimental value, I mean, what more can you say? Like, I'm not going to sit up here and go back and forth with somebody. I don't think you should go back and forth with somebody, because when people talk about players like Alvin Kamara and Cam Jordan and Demario Davis, they're speaking from an emotional place. It's like, if we're going to have like a real conversation, when we're talking about the NFL, the main thing that you need to be in the NFL is available. And for the past 4 seasons, you have a running back as great as he has been. He hasn't been. That's a fair conversation to have. Like, I don't care about feelings at the end of the day. Like, like there's some, like, you can't kick against this. You can't knock this. You need production from positions on the field. You need your stars to be available. And if they're not available, you got to figure out how you're going to replace that production or how you're going to replace that player. TJ love AK, and I'm sure the organization does too, but we have to be objective about the situation. Yeah, he's been hurt and used the wrong way, which is why the pay cut is fair. Take it or leave it. Yeah. And I'm not saying, like, with a better offensive line, Alvin Kamara will be more productive. But is Alvin Kamara going to look like 2017 Alvin Kamara for the next 4 to 5 years? Probably not. Yeah, probably. Like, if they fix this offensive line, Alvin Kamara might look like really good, and people would like circle back and be like, man, you said, like, you remember we had this conversation about Alvin Kamara? Like, never said he was terrible. And we all know that the offensive line like played a role. But when we're talking about things like durability, man, you got to be able to be available. Plain and simple. Thanks, TJ. I'm 12 away, hopefully before and after the final day of April. If not, definitely in May. Yeah, you'll get there, man. Just keep on grinding. Keep on grinding, man. Just because people agree don't make you right. What are we talking? I mean, I don't know. At the end of the day, like, who, like, when you're talking about opinionated journalism, like, who is right and who's wrong? Like, it's people's personal opinions and personal feelings about certain things. You know, I mean, so that's the whole thing. It's like, if I say 2 + 2 is 4, right? I mean, I'm right. If I say 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 4, still the same, come to the same conclusion. People have a different way of expressing themselves, and that's you know, that's where a lot of people, you know, may, you know, I think that's where the big disconnect is, because maybe, you know, we're in this debate culture where it's like, oh, I agree with this person, so therefore they're right. Like, you just throw things out there, man. You give your opinion, and maybe if you have a couple people that agree with you, some people don't. But who's right and who's wrong? Like, at the end of the day, like, who? I mean, unless you just got some like valid like numbers, you know what I'm saying? The numbers that add up to us having this conversation, I think, is valid. But I don't think it's everybody gives their opinion. Who's right and who's wrong? Like who knows? Everybody just entitled to their opinion. Let's see. But at the end of the day, man, look, I like Alvin. I think that the Saints probably are going to keep him around. But it would not shock me if he wasn't on the team. TJ, Steve Smith said Jordan Tyson doesn't know how to fall slide when tackled, which can lead to the injuries he had. He also mentioned he's not concerned with it because that can be fixed at this level. Yeah, I mean, look, when you're big and strong and you're probably faster than most of the people that you line up against, yeah, sometimes you might be a little bit reckless. But to me, that's a good problem to fix because it's a guy that doesn't know how to give up on a play. Sometimes you got to know when to give up on a play, but the fact that I got to reel a guy back instead of like pushing him, I think that's a plus. If I got a guy that's too riled up and I got like, man, oh man, whoa, Kimosabi, I'm good, right? But if I got to keep on pushing you, like, come on, man, come on, like, I rather try to reel a guy in, when it comes to being aggressive or trying to go the extra mile versus a guy that don't have that aggression. As fans, we must separate emotion from business decisions, even if it means the Saints parting with older players. The better, the sooner the better. The sooner people realize that football is a business, the better. You may despise the decisions, but it's business at the end of the day. It's business at the end of the day. Exactly. Two things can be true. I think just because you vouch for AK doesn't mean it's purely emotional. Well, okay, if you're talking about Alvin Kamara being a starter for the Saints, like in 2026, and not understanding that Travis Etienne is younger, at this stage more durable, and has shown like he can carry the load, like, yeah, I think there's some emotional aspect into it. But I'm just being realistic. If I gave you a team, and look, I've done over 2,000 episodes of this, so I already know what the deal is. Like, you can't BS a BS. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've done so many shows where I talk about certain players when Saint fans do not have, I gotta say it, a dog in the fight, so to speak. They'll be like, oh man, this dude, man, we don't want him on the team, man. He can't stay healthy. Several players that I have mentioned over the years, man, the Saints may need to take a look at this guy. Saints may need to take a look at this guy. Nah, I don't think so, man. Nah, man, he ain't been healthy, man. I mean, he good, but he ain't been healthy. These are the conversations that are being had. The only difference is that people have an emotional connection to this guy. Like, you ain't about to, please. If Alvin Kamara was playing for any team, like let's just say if he played for the Falcons, let's just say if he played for the Bucks or the Panthers or the 49ers, and I was having a show like this, I guarantee you the energy would be completely different. It's because people have an emotional connection. Man, please. Like, come on, man. When you starting conversations off with my guy, my dude, leave my guy alone, man, come on. That's emotion. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it is. Anybody that feels like the Saints bringing in Travis Etienne, it was not a good decision, or the fact that they feel like it was a knock on out, like it was a shot at Alvin Kamara and they disrespected him, this, that, and the third, is emotion. Soldier, yeah, I'm feeling sure Taysom is done. Yeah, Taysom up out of here. They're just trying to give Taysom the time in order for him to get that announcement ready, or they're gonna move on from him. I mean, you look at that game versus the Jets last season. That pretty much told you everything that you need to know. Taysom is going retire. I don't know what taking so long. Probably just want to be able to, like, get himself together. While there, TJ playing for the Falcons, crazy statement. I mean, it's the truth. When you don't have an emotional connection, you have better logic. It's the truth. It is the truth, man. Like, if you don't have an emotional connection to something, man, it don't matter to you that much. It might matter to you, but it might matter to you a little bit. But it's not the same if I'm telling you or talking to you about a family member or somebody that's really close to you. You're gonna have a cause to pause when it comes to that. But when it comes to like something like, man, get them up out of here. I mean, like I said, I got 2,000 episodes, several tweets of individuals that been good, borderline elite, had injury history, and Saints fans didn't want no part of them. Nah, when I have compelling conversation about that, nope. So why you can't have a conversation about somebody that's been on a team that's dealing with the same thing? I don't care about right or wrong. It's fair take to make sense. LOL, players are going to get old like every sport, folks. And like I said, I want to make this thing very clear. All right. I'm not saying the Saints need to get rid of Alvin Kamara because I know people hear what they want to hear. I'm not saying that. I'm saying them bringing in Travis Etienne to be the feature back was justified based on what we have seen over the past 4 to 5 seasons. And heck, if the Saints end up keeping Alvin Kamara, that might end up helping him. Maybe he'll be able to stay healthy when he ain't got to be the bell cow back every year, and be down there and be available every play. I suspect that if we were attempting to trade for Kamara, many people would likely say that he is too old and that we should be targeting someone younger. And we pick and choose how we want to word things and how we want. But when it has some sentimental value around it, man, I'm telling you, it's different. It's different, man. Say TJ, this cartel, you heard me. What you think about the Emerson signing, big brother? Personally, I love it, and I think it's the right addition to our defense. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later, man. But we're gonna go ahead and switch gears. We're gonna talk a little bit about K'Lavon Chaisson and his comments that he made. We're gonna get into that right after a word from our sponsor, Lucy. This is the State of the Saints podcast. And right now, I want to thank the fine folks at Lucy for being the official sponsor of the State of the Saints podcast. And look, everybody is trying to find ways to unwind, to relax, to have focus, and to have more energy. Some people like energy shots, energy drinks, coffee, right? Even neuro pills to try to get you to focus a little bit more. Everybody is trying to find ways to be in a zone and in a really good space. Now, this is for all of the pouch connoisseurs out there. This is where Lucy comes in. Lucy is 100% tobacco-free pouches, right? And it is available to you in 12 milligrams and 4 milligrams. And it also comes with a hydration capsule, so it just gives you that instant burst and a really good experience. I have a friend of mine, gave him an opportunity to try Lucy, and he has been raving about it, going absolutely crazy about it, and wondering how can he get his hands on some more. Well, if you want to get your hands on Lucy and you are a pouch connoisseur, all you have to do is go to lucy.co/code. And if you don't want to wait, all you have to do is go to their store locator and you'll be able to find Lucy in your area. Now, Lucy is for adults only of legal age, and every customer is age verified. This product contains nicotine, and nicotine, as we know, is an addictive chemical. All right, so make sure that you use responsibly. But once again, want to thank the fine folks at Lucy for being an official sponsor of the State of the Saints podcast. And if you are a pouch connoisseur, once again, go to lucy.co/code to get 20% off on Lucy. Special shout out to Lucy being an official sponsor of the State of the Saints podcast and also the Straight Up TJAY Podcast. And appreciate you all for being here. I ask that you hit the like button. Hit the like button, man. A lot of discourse in the chat tonight. People got mixed emotions. Everybody got their different perspective about this. I just love it, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. This is the type of stuff. Like, we're not one of those fluff channels, right? Where everybody got to agree with everybody, right? We're going to have some real tough conversations here, just like any family, right? But let's go ahead and keep it moving, man. Let's go ahead and keep it moving. Now, this got a lot of Saints fans fired up. K'Lavon Chaisson, man, turns down the Saints, signs with the Commanders. Now, this all comes from, there's a video that's circulating around social media about Chaisson. He was sitting in the car chilling. Well, let me go ahead and pull it up. I'll pull it up so y'all can see it. Let's go ahead and get this on and pop in here. Let's go ahead and restart this. This is him talking a little bit about his decision in free agency to sign with the Commanders over the Saints. Y'all check it out.
Only because I feel like them niggas, you know what I'm saying, they competitive, so we're going to be in some type of playoff race and shit. I'm going to have more opportunities to be ahead of the game. I don't know about the Saints. I don't know what their offense look like to know, like, we'll be playing from ahead to even have them rush opportunities, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, I know they just got Travis. They just signed Noah Fant, tight end, but Olave, I don't know, whatever.
I don't know, bro. Like you said, guaranteed is good, but you always get that by yourself.
You feel that?
All right, so for those that didn't hear, okay, K'Lavon Chaisson, according to reports, all right, and this is actually, I want to give credit to, man. I don't want to, this is on ML Football, right? It's a lot of people follow this social media platform. They got about 451,000 followers. All right. So it poses a lot of information and stuff. But according to this, Chaisson had opportunity to sign a 3-year deal with the New Orleans Saints, some guaranteed money off in that thing. But instead, he decides that he wants to sign with the Washington Commanders. Now, I just completely eliminate what the Saints were offering him. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if it's a 3-year deal or not. But we're just going to just stick to him having an opportunity to sign with the New Orleans Saints, but instead going with the Washington Commanders. Now, if we're going to keep it 100, right? If we're going to keep it all the way 100, the Washington Commanders have been a better football team over the last few years than the New Orleans Saints. I will give the Commanders that, right? Since Jaden Daniels has come into town, they have been pretty credible. Now, Jaden Daniels has dealt with some injuries last season, and the Washington Commanders could not replicate what they did in 2024 when they went all the way to the NFC Championship game to fall short against the Philadelphia Eagles. But here's the thing. Who cares? Like, I'm serious. Like, who cares if K'Lavon Chaisson doesn't sign with the New Orleans Saints? I mean, this guy is Mike Miller, Kyle Korver, Bonzi Wells, role player. That is what he is. It's not like, oh, my goodness, man, the Saints didn't get K'Lavon Chaisson. Oh, my goodness. Man, what are they going to do? Like, dude is average at best. This is a guy, okay? Look, I know we love ourselves some LSU players, and I like Chaisson. I liked him at LSU. But this is a guy who was a first-round draft pick, 20th overall in the 2020 draft, right? That's the draft that gave New Orleans Saints fans Cesar Ruiz, all right? That's the draft right there, right? Chaisson was the 20th overall pick coming out of LSU. This guy was supposed to be hot-ish coming out of LSU. He's supposed to be a disruptor, right? He was supposed to be that dude. In 7 seasons, All right, 7 seasons as a defensive end. K'Lavon Chaisson has 136 tackles, 17 and a half sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 6 pass deflections, 1 interception, and 1 touchdown. Like I said, role player, Mike Miller, Kyle Korver. Look, if you want to go to the Washington Commanders, by all means, man, do you. But at the end of the day, so what? You know, like this isn't like one of those situations where the New Orleans Saints was going after a guy who was getting 15, 20 sacks a pop. It's not like Trey Hendrickson or something like that, or, you know, somebody else like Myles Garrett out here in these streets. It's a guy who's probably not even going to be a starter. You know, like this guy going to be a rotational piece. So it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. But, you know, if you feel like the Washington Commanders give you a better chance to win, I'm not mad at that. Like I said, realistically, the Commanders have been more successful than the Saints over the last few seasons. But you can tell maybe this video was recorded before the draft, because he was talking about a couple of players that the Saints like signed during the free agency process at the beginning. So maybe he didn't see what the New Orleans Saints were cooking up, and maybe he will have a different tune, or maybe not. But like I said, Chaisson is a rotational guy. Okay, no harm, no foul here. I wish the brother all the best in the world with the Commanders. He wants to go out there. He wants to make an impact. Me personally, I feel like he probably would have made an even bigger impact on the Saints defensive line, because they would have gave him an opportunity, just like they gave Tyree Wilson. They're giving him an opportunity, a guy who has not lived up to that first round moniker just yet. But hey, it is what it is. Maybe he wants to play with his, you know, maybe he want to play with Jaden Daniels. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But at the end of the day, like, don't make it seem like the Saints, you know, it was like a spot where it was just going to be complete doomsday. Like, this was going to be a spot more than likely you would have probably had more starting time than you would with the Commanders. But good luck to that brother, man. Good luck to him. But like I said, man, I mean, like average football player. I think that's fair. I think it's fair. He's been an average football player since he's been in the league. And not to mention, he has been on 1, 2, 3, 4. This is his 5th team in 7 years. And you were the 20th pick overall coming out of LSU, highly touted as a defensive end. And, you know, we talking about, what are we talking about here? All right, what did the Saints actually lose? Like I said, Mike Miller, Kyle Korver, like early Sacramento Kings, Hito Turkoglu. You get what I'm saying? Brian Shaw. Y'all give me some role players here. That is what K'Lavon Chaisson has been in the National Football League. I just got to keep it a buck, man. Sorry. It is what it is. Good player, solid guy, might even get you a sack every now and then. But to sit up here and make it seem like, hey. No, sir. No, sir. But good luck to that brother with the Washington Commanders. And I actually like the Commanders. I'm going to be honest with you. I like Jaden Daniels. I like watching the Commanders play. But come on, my guy. Come on, man. Let me hear from you all, man. What y'all think about Chaisson's comments? What y'all think about Chaisson's comments? Are you losing any sleep? Okay? Are y'all losing any sleep over the comments? All right? Do y'all understand the brother? Do you care? I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe like, to his credit, I'm pretty sure he didn't think that it was probably going to get that much traction. But when you say things about the Saints, you know Saints fans going to bring it up. And, you know, they definitely going to see that. And, you know, it's going to be the topic of conversation. All right, but let me go ahead and stroll down a little bit. We talk about Chaisson right now. Says this should get fined for offering him a contract. Says, so what? So what, man? Y'all know what y'all know what he's saying. I don't give a flying fig Newton about Chaisson. Next. Says the Saints should get fined for already mentioned that. Said just because he played with LSU doesn't mean y'all want him. He just trying to run up under JD5's ass. Whatever. Look, I ain't got no problem with that. I don't have a problem with that, man. Look, if you feel like Jaden Daniels give you a better chance to win than the Tyler Shuck and the Saints offense, I mean, it's been proven. Like, I'm not gonna sit up here and pretend like what he's saying didn't make a little bit of sense if we're talking about from a successful standpoint over the last few seasons. Like, the Commanders seem like they have something special with Jaden Daniels when he's healthy, right? The Saints seem like they're building in a process of possibly having something special. But you actually seen the Commanders go to the NFC Championship game with Jaden Daniels going to Detroit, who were the number 1 seed, and they beat them in Detroit. Like, so I get it. But at the end of the day, like, good message, wrong messenger. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Myles Garrett was sitting here talking in the car and, you know, chilling, laid back, man, I had that 4-year contract with the Saints, and you know, I decided I want, you get what I'm saying? Like, dang, I ain't could have got Myles Garrett. Trey Hendrickson or something. Like, man, it would be great to go back to the Saints, but you know, I'm just like with Baltimore building. God, dog, man, Trey Hendrickson, man, Mr. 15 and a half, 17 and a half. Like, that's something. But a guy who, like, this guy, I want to put this into perspective. I mentioned Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson had more sacks in one season than K'Lavon Chaisson had in his entire career. I'm going to say that again. Trey Hendrickson had more sacks in one season than K'Lavon Chaisson had in his entire career. So if a tree falls in the woods, got a good feeling about the former first pick on opposite side of Chase. Says, I almost went Samuel Jackson mode on this. Who the let's see. I do got a question. Name an LSU pass rusher panned out in the pros. Danielle Hunter? Danielle Hunter pretty good, right? And Danielle Hunter is a better pro than he was a collegiate player. But yeah, I would have to say Danielle Hunter. Somebody give me somebody else. I mean this respectfully. I mean it respectfully, but I don't know. Outside of Danielle Hunter, like who out here getting it? Like, what LSU Tiger out here getting it, man, from, you know, and made a name for themselves over the last couple of seasons. I couldn't tell you outside of Danielle Hunter. And look, man, this ain't the part where I'm trying to bash LSU players, man. I ain't doing it. But all I'm saying is, guy has not been what he was supposed to be, being a first-round pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars back in 2020. Let's be real. We be trash for about 10 years straight, but who is this? Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, going to the Commanders over the Saints in 2026 is understandable. It's understandable. It's not like, you know, like, man, this dude out here delusional. Like, it makes sense, but like I said, good message, wrong messenger, right? I don't know, man. It's like Glass Joe talking about I could have got that heavyweight fight. Like, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, you 1-99, my G. You don't know who Glad Joe is? Look it up. Shouts out to all my OGs out there that got that. You think we got enough now to win the South? Good question. Do the Saints have enough to win the South? Do you ever have enough to win anything? That's the question. Like, I think they're building something special, but other teams in the NFC South are doing the same thing. I think that it's the California gold rush, right? Everybody trying to get to California so they can get that gold. You get what I'm saying? So they're doing the right things. I think they'll be a better team than they were last year. And, you know, I think they'll, you know, they'll compete because they competed last year. And, but to sit up here just emphatically saying that the New Orleans Saints are just going to just completely smoke the rest of the division, no, sir. Don't see that happen. Okay, I think that the NFC South is wide open. I told y'all, man, I'm not one of the people that just gonna blow smoke. If it's warranted, I'm gonna say it. But they did a lot of good things. I'm talking to Saints to catapult themselves to the front of the line. Now, what these other teams have done, maybe you can make it competitive. We'll see. But the New Orleans Saints can only do what is best for them, and they have done that. And as an onlooker, if you're a fan, if you're a reporter, you got to appreciate that because it's going to give you something better to write about if you're a reporter. It's going to give you a better viewing experience if you're a fan. And, it's going to give you entertainment if you just a casual NFL fan that may roll up on a Saints game. They definitely were having some primetime games this season. So I expect for them to have some primetime games, even if it's Thursday night football. They're going to put the Saints. They're going to put the Saints in prime time because Tyler Shuck is the quarterback. And the way that the NFL was hyping up Shuck towards the end of the season, they want him to pan out. They want Tyler Shuck to pan out. So they were giving him a lot of love. And with that comes some games where the New Orleans Saints going to be on television, in my opinion. Do you think we need another center? I feel like we need an insurance policy for Eric McCoy. Absolutely. That's another conversation that needs to be had. If the New Orleans Saints were to draft a center, like if they were to draft the center in this year's draft, it's understandable. It's not a knock on Eric McCoy or his greatness. I said this on countless occasions, and I'll say it again for those that just rolled up on the channel for the first time. Please hit the subscribe button, number one. And number two, Eric McCoy, in my opinion, is a top 3 center when healthy. Maybe even top 2. But the durability issues is a concern. And you cannot just sit up here and just not address certain areas of the football positions on the field because you like a player or he's good. What does that matter if a player is good if he's not available? It just hurts the team even more that he's not out there. And it hurts the team even more than that when you don't have a backup plan, a contingency plan. You don't have anything. Like you just up here just hoping that the guy pans out. That's not good enough. Even if you get yourself a diamond in the rough, maybe a guy that's not ready to push Eric McCoy just yet, because if you pushing Eric McCoy, you must be a damn good center. But to a point, if like Luke Fortner, right? Solid center, like somebody of that talent. Luke Fortner, like that's a good, solid offensive lineman right there, playing center. So yeah, you need something like that. Absolutely. You don't sit up here and just like, oh man, we got Eric McCoy. Man, he missed a lot of games, but we got Eric, man. Like, how does that benefit you if you have Eric and if he's not out there? So find yourself somebody. So absolutely. And finally, let's go ahead and move on to the final topic of conversation on this edition of the Straight Up TJ Podcast. Hope you all are enjoying the podcast so far. But we're going to talk about Martin Emerson. All right. Martin Emerson signed with the New Orleans Saints. Now, Martin Emerson Jr. Was a 3rd-round pick. He's out of Pensacola, Florida. And he has some length on him, man. He's 6'2", 201 pounds. He was drafted in the 3rd round once again out of Mississippi State back in 2019. He was a 3rd-team All-SEC in 2021. He has 202 tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 34 pass deflections, and 4 interceptions. Now, once again, he's coming off an Achilles tear, which cost him his season last year with the Cleveland Browns. And now, he comes to the New Orleans Saints. He's only 25 years old, man. So he's going to be 26 going to be 26 on the 27th of this year. So he's going to be a guy that's going to be a part of the Saints cornerback room. Probably going to put him in the slot, and that's a good spot for him. Not the fastest guy in the world, but really rangy cornerback, got really good arm length, and I'm always always like the cornerbacks that are tall, they have long wingspan, they can be able to make some plays. But Emerson is a guy probably going to contribute on special teams. I don't expect for him to be a starter unless he goes out here and just completely knocks it out of the park. But I think it's a really good addition. I mean, you see the pass deflections over his career. So he's able to get after it. He's able to make some plays. He's going into his 8th season. He was drafted in 2019, which is insane, by the way. He was drafted in 2022, So 23, 24, 25. So this is going to be his 4th season. And, he's a young guy that's going to be able to make some plays. So I like it, man. This is another guy who is 25 years of age. You look at who the New Orleans Saints have been going after, right? Like I said, Jalen Pope, he's about 22, 23 years old. You look at Trey Palmer, he's about 22, 23 years old. Tyree Wilson, he's about 25 years old. Chase Young, I believe, is 27 years old. Carl Granderson, I want to say, is 28. These guys are young, man. The Saints are trying to get young. They're trying to get explosive, and they're trying to make some things happen. Probably the oldest person that's going to be a part of that starting rotation is probably going to be Caden Ellis, right? So the New Orleans Saints are telling everybody that they want to get younger, they want to get more explosive, and this is another guy that Brandon Staley can utilize and bring into the Saints defense, and hopefully they can be able to make some noise. Not a ball hawking guy, but like I said, a very rangy guy that can get his hands on the football and knock it away, and really good technique, fundamentally sound, and not a guy that commits too many penalties. So that's a plus right there. So I like the move. I think that the Saints needed to do this. You look at the Saints, they don't have Alontae Taylor. He played the slot for the last 3 seasons. You got Lorenzo Styles, who you drafted. I look for him to probably fill that role, and maybe a guy like Emerson to be a part of that rotation. So good move by the New Orleans Saints, getting younger, getting a guy who can come in and, they betting on. It just seems like the New Orleans Saints are just betting on guys and hoping that these guys look at it as an honor, and be humbled by the fact that the New Orleans Saints believe in them enough after they're coming off injuries like Emerson, or looking at or being labeled as a bust like Tyree Wilson, or people gave up on them because they feel like they didn't have anything to offer like Chase Young. So these guys are stepping up to the plate. I think that they're going to make the best out of their situation. And I want to see what the New Orleans Saints do with these players, man, because I love what I'm seeing right now. All right, so that's pretty much all the topics that we have, man. I'll just turn towards the chat, and we'll finish out the show, just directing our attention to the chat. Very, very simple. All you got to do is put your comments in the chat if you have something to say. We talked about Alvin Kamara. Will the New Orleans Saints keep him around in 2026? We talked about K'Lavon Chaisson deciding to roll with the Commanders over the New Orleans Saints, and, of course, Martin Emerson Jr. signing with the Saints after tearing his Achilles in training camp last season with the Browns. The Saints are taking a chance on the young guy, and hopefully he'll pan out. So, like I said, put your comments in the chat. Says, I've been said that. Says, the Saints not getting primetime games, LOL. Y'all beat the worst defense in the league. Name a great defense y'all beat. I don't know what we're talking about here. I don't know. I guess I came in towards the tail end of that conversation. So I don't know exactly what happened there. I don't know if we're talking about something else, and I just caught the tail end of the conversation in the chat. Says, I honestly wanted him to join us. Says Martin Emerson. Yeah, Martin Emerson. Yeah, I assume you're talking about Martin Emerson. Yeah, I think he's a good, solid corner. Guy worth taking a fly on. That's a Emerson sign is a sneaky, good, underrated move by the Saints. Yeah, as long as he stays healthy, man. But I'm pretty sure they did the physical, and he was able to pass the physical, and maybe, he's ahead of schedule, or maybe he's where he needs to be. I did hear that Lorenzo Styles more than likely won't be available at the start of training camp, had a procedure done, but will take part in training camp, will be available at some point. So having a guy like Emerson come in, if he's healthy enough to be able to be a part of that rotation, that benefits him, right? Getting more reps, getting more eyes on you, and getting more opportunities out there on the field. So getting Emerson definitely helps the cornerback depth. I agree. Let's see. Hey, y'all, keep it clean in the chat. We have young and elder viewers, so mind your vulgar, profane comments. We all have opinions. Not everyone has to agree. I agree with that. That I do agree with King Arthur. But look, man, I don't want anybody to get too emotional to a point where we up here just going at each other. Like, we all different. That's what makes us special, right? Everybody's not going to always agree with what people are saying, but we also have to respect other people's opinions and views. And, it's not always about, oh, I feel like I'm right and you're wrong. Like, people aren't going to think like you all the time. And that's okay. That's okay, man. Everybody's not going to think the same, but just respect people's opinion. The need to get their medical staff together, TJ, we are getting a lot of past injured players, bro. But, hey, but the Saints last season, like, injuries weren't that much of a concern. Like, for the most part, they were relatively healthy. So it's a step in the right direction when it comes to the strength and conditioning program. We gotta give it an opportunity to be able to turn a corner, man. We can't like lean on and latch on to narratives, right? Because sometimes, those narratives, we can hold on to them so long, we don't even appreciate the fact that maybe those narratives aren't the same, or maybe we need to shift it a little bit, right? That's just like when I was talking about the Commanders and Chaisson's decision. Like, if you look at it, like, if you've been a Saints fan long enough, you might look at it like, man, what was he thinking? But if you're being realistic, the Commanders have had more success than the Saints, because you're probably looking at how much success the Saints have had over the past decade versus the Commanders or whatever. But I don't want it to be that way. Like, let's focus on what the main thing is, folks. Okay, if the Saints had an issue with durability when it comes to these key players and injuries galore, and you ain't have like the medical staff paying attention to the analytics and all that, and if it was the same issue, right, that it was over the last couple of years when DA was the coach, then let's have this conversation. But have an appreciation for the fact that the numbers when it comes to injured players went down, and it seems like Kellen Moore and his coaching staff are paying closer attention to these guys' bodies, the amount of miles they run per week, and how much effort that they're putting in the gym in order to make sure that these guys aren't physically exhausted at the start of the season. You mentioned Chris Olave, right? Chris Olave missing games. Chris Olave played the entire season, so let's give the brother credit in that regard. Narratives can change, right? That I don't want to stick to a certain narrative of a player or organization and not respect the fact that those narratives can possibly change. What I seen last season from the Saints was a team that was a little bit more durable than years past. So I don't want to stick to that. They changed the medical staff, and they brought in a really good strength and conditioning coach, a guy who has a really good reputation. He's worked with the Miami Dolphins. He worked with the Rams, and all of those teams have been extremely durable during the time when he was a part of the team. So bringing him in was key. And that's something that was first priority for Kellen Moore. So credit to him. Hi, TJ. Sorry, I'm late to the show. Always love the content. August preseason games can't come soon enough. You the man. Who that? Scott, I appreciate that, man. And thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys can do. I'm looking forward to seeing what training camp has to offer. There's a lot of unanswered questions, man. It's a new day in New Orleans, and it's going to be a completely different team, man. It's going to look different. It's going to feel different. And I think that it started to feel like a new team with a new coach and new philosophy. So let's see if this is going to pan out and equate to some winning. Bryce Young had 2 wins in his first season, by the way, Panthers fans. Yeah, I mean, but look, Bryce Young is getting better. And look, as much as Saints fans may not like the Panthers, I'm happy for that kid, man, because when you're the number 1 overall pick, people have a tendency of just throwing you away and, man, they're just waiting on you to look like a bust. But last season, it seemed like things were starting to come together for him. And I hope that he has a solid career. I really do, man. I mean, when he played the Saints, of course, like you want to see the Saints win, but man, I'm not trying to see these dudes out here, get drafted and then just fall off the face of the earth. Like, you shouldn't take no pride in that. Now, if you root for the Saints and that player comes to town, like you don't want them to have a good game against your squad. But all in all, man, it's good to see that guy seem like he turning a corner. I mean, and also to his credit, like he could have crumbled up like a graham cracker, crumbled like a cheap tent, like when he got benched. But he came right back. He took it on the chin and came back, played some better football. I mean, if he played the Falcons every game, he might be league MVP. TJ is saying Jennings' position is a linebacker. Is he a hybrid? Yeah, he more of a edge rusher / linebacker. He put his hands on the ground and also can be able to drop in coverage. He's one of those guys. He's one of those classic 3-4 like linebackers, edge guys, and also, like I said, he can drop back in coverage. Is the State of Saints podcast is now known as the Straight Up TJ podcast, or is it two separate channels? Nope. No, it's the Straight Up TJ podcast, man. That's what it is, Straight Up TJ. Because the thing is, we talking Saints because, that's what I'm kind of synonymous with. But we're also be talking about different topics too. Like we kind of just been on the Saints brand as of late because of draft and everything like that. But we're gonna be talking about things around the NFL also, man. So yeah, just wanted to go ahead and switch the styles up. State of the Saints gonna always be State of the Saints, of course. But at the end of the day, we got to evolve, man. We got to grow. And, that's something that, I just take serious, man. I just want to be able to give everybody a better listening experience, a better viewing experience, and just want to kind of, elevate the show, plain and simple. So thank y'all. A lot of you are responsible for the elevation by, believing in me, believing in the channel, believing in what we can build here. And, at the end of the day, man, I'm just excited about it. Just excited about everything that's going on. And like I said, State of the Saints is always going to be the brand, but it's Straight Up TJ here on the YouTube channel. Let's see, TJ, how did you get your theme song? Who's the artist? A guy named J Lo. Like J Lo, like Jennifer Lopez. No, J Love, excuse me, J Love. I don't, what I'm saying? Like I basically just kind of outsourced for it. Like I went to this app and I just kind of outsourced for it. And it was a guy who was an artist, and I told him what I actually wanted. Told him a little bit about the show and my concept, and he spanned the block. Took him maybe like a couple of days and gave me the track. So I want to give him a special shout out, man. Like, cause he did a really good job, man. West Coast artist. And I just think that I like the beat, I like the flow, and I just think that it just represents a new day here on this channel. Says I got you. Thanks clearing that up, brother. Yeah, man. You see the Straight Up TJ podcast, man, just under same thing, same energy. Just different, we may be talking about different topics. So, just open us up to like, man, I don't want to just be so deep, like pause. I want us to be able to have fun sometimes. I want us to be able to like think sometimes. Like this type of show right here, like the energy that it opened up with, some people might think, oh man, it kind of divides the Who Dat Nation. I don't think that. I don't want it to be that way. We have these type of tough conversations, but want us to have fun as well. TJ, Kristen Miller is going to be a Bayou baller within the first 4 weeks. Book it, TJ. I'm also curious about who you think will flash first out of the draft class outside of Jordan Tyson. I think Oscar Delp will. I think the Saints are going to give him opportunities. I think that he'll probably flash, and also I think that Barry Brown probably going to flash too, because he's going to be the kick returner for the Saints. So I think that he's going to be pretty dynamic. So those are the two guys outside of Jordan Tyson, I think. But I think that, they got a really good, solid draft. I think they got a solid draft, and they got some players that are capable of having their name mentioned quite a bit. Says, we rocking with you, TJ Soldier. I appreciate that, man. TJ, will you be covering our undrafted free agents in the future episodes? I like that defensive end we signed with the Cosby comps. Crosby comps. Let's say Cosby. Crosby comps. Look, yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll break that down. You know, we'll save that show for another day. But I wanted to put more emphasis on, you know, saying that show, and I don't want to like take away from that because I think it's worth breaking down. And I also want to be able to like take a look at those players and see what they have to offer because, man, it's going to be hard for some of these guys to make the team. Like the Saints already sitting real pretty when it comes to some of these roster spots. So you still got some openings somewhere, but if you're an undrafted rookie, you're going to have to like really step up and make some things happen for yourself in order for you to make this team. You're going to have to like really blow it out of the water for you to make this team. And I'm hoping that some of those guys do. Because if they do, that means they're going to be some damn good pros. The Saints missing the playoff 5 straight seasons is the biggest problem than being emotionally attached to a player. Yeah. When you do that, man, it's like I'm trying to find words for this. When you realize that there is a problem, you can do two things, right? You can just sit there and think that the problem is just magically going to go away, or you can do something about it. I'll say that again. You can do two things. You can sit there and be complacent and think that the problem is going to fix itself, or you can go out here and do something about it. The Saints had a problem, and this is what I want Saints fans to understand. The Saints had a problem, and they needed to fix it. And right now they're fixing it. And you may not like the way that they're fixing it. You may not like some of the moves that they're being made, but it's for the betterment of the team. Right? Like some of us don't understand change. Some of us don't understand certain moves until it actually happens. I often use this example. Shouts out to my big brother, EJ. Some of y'all have been rocking with the channel. He's been on here a few times. But my brother is an art teacher. And growing up as a kid, I used to watch my brother draw like all types of pictures. And he always starts with these lines, right? I don't know what the hell he's drawing, right? I mean, I'm like, man, what you doing? You know, and sometimes he'll say, man, I don't know, right? And he'll just like get inspired. And the next thing you know is an absolute masterpiece. And I'm like, dang, man, like I just left the room. You came back and I came back and it's like, you got this on here. My point is this. Sometimes we don't know what the artist is creating, but it might be something extremely beautiful. Now, it could be the drizzling ish. That's not a shot at my brother. I mean, he's a great artist, man. Make sure y'all look up my brother, man. Shouts out to EJ. But yeah, man, it might not be something that you rock with, right? But at the end of the day, like you got to allow this painting to come to fruition before we start critiquing this joint. Because we all wanted this change. We all felt that the New Orleans Saints need to move in a different direction, and they're doing just that. So we want to see if these young players are going to work out, going to see if the New Orleans Saints' new philosophy is going to create some change, want to see if some of these wide receivers that they brought in, these pass catchers and offensive weapons are going to be able to help Tyler Shough. Can Tyler Shough take that next extra step to being a really good quarterback in the National Football League? All those questions are going to be answered eventually. But I tell you this, sitting there just wishing for the worst and saying that the worst is going to happen is not beneficial. Not beneficial to your mental, not beneficial to the energy of the Who Dat Nation. And like I said, everything's just going to work out. Eventually, you're going to see it in real time. Jerry said, been rocking with TJ since 2018. Yeah, Jerry, and I appreciate it. Says TJ about to be on ESPN soon. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds, man. All I know is I just want to give everybody a better listening and viewing experience of this podcast. And you know, like I don't know, you know, I just wanted to like change the energy up. You know, when you do these things long enough, man, and this is for all the podcasting people out there, you can get a little complacent, man. You get a little complacent, and I never want to be to a point where I'm just taking the people that made me, you know, what I am and who I am for granted. So I'm always looking to try to elevate, you know, this show and the brand. So plain and simple, man. So yeah, we focus, we motivated now, man. We motivated. So the energy gonna be is gonna be on point. TJ, have you seen the meme where Harold Perkins Jr. Appeared on the NFC South team? And what is your take on that? A person from Atlanta sent me that meme. Man, it's funny you said that, man. It's funny you said that. It's funny you said that. Hold on one second. It's funny you said that. Now I know what meme that you're talking about. And I promise y'all, man, I'm actually there's a reason. There's a reason I'm doing this. All right, but the meme that he's referring to, right? The meme that he's referring to is the meme about Harold Perkins, basically saying like he's a Saints fan, right? And he was like, if the Saints don't draft me, then guess what? I'm not a Saints fan anymore. That's what he said, right? Now that's been making his rounds. But what if I told you that I asked that question to him? And that's the response that he gave to me. I'm actually just trying to I'm actually seeing if I actually still have it. But yeah, man, like I asked him that question at the NFL Combine about, if he was to get signed by the Saints, how would he feel about that, this, that, and the third? And that's when he told me, he was like, I love the Saints. I grew up a Saints fan. He was like, but if they don't come after me, then I'm not a Saints fan anymore. So yeah, that was actually a question I asked. And it's just funny to me, man, that they actually made his rounds. So yeah, but that was crazy. I'm trying to see if I can I have it on my phone. I'm trying to see if I can actually download it so y'all can actually hear it. But yeah, man, I mean the Falcons end up like taking that, and of course they thought it was like super duper funny or whatever. You take a shot at the Saints. But at the end of the day, man, look, I'm happy for Harold Perkins. I'm glad that he was able to find a spot, a team, that's gonna give him an opportunity. I mean, I think that the reason why he fell in the draft had a lot to do with the fact that a lot of teams think that he's raw. Some of the things that people have seen, that they're question marks. But I mean, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. Like if he can put it all together, man, he can be a dangerous player. I think that they're probably going to end up giving him, like making him put on a few more pounds. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, like, man, he in the right spot. You got drafted late, so you should be hungry. Like, this was a guy in Harold Perkins. A lot of people thought there would have been a top 5, top 10 pick, especially his freshman year at LSU. People looked at him as a phenom. So if he can put it all together, man, it'll be great. But I think this is the clip. Check it out. Hey, Harold, have you spoke to anybody from the New Orleans Saints? And if you were to be drafted by the Saints, that's like an hour and 30 minutes from where you are. How would that feel?
I feel good. I'm still in the city. You know what I'm saying? Where I grew up at. So I won't feel no type of way about the Saints, man. I love the Saints. I'm a Saints fan. But if they don't come get me, I'm sorry. I ain't a Saints fan no more.
All right, so there you go right there. Yours truly asked that question. So give your boy them props. Put some respect on my name, God dog it. Put some respect on my name. Podcast versus podcast during game time. Let's see. I like our defense, just concerned about the cornerback position. Should we call Lattimore? Whew, I don't know, man. I just look at the New Orleans Saints and the direction they're going in. Man, I'd love to see the New Orleans Saints, bring in Marshawn Lattimore, but I don't think that's in the cards, man. I don't think that's in the cards. I really don't, man. And I think those hamstring injuries and some of those injuries that he has sustained over his career, I just think that it's kind of taking a toll on him. I said, not you, TJ, talking about. I knew you were talking about Jerry. I knew you talking about. He called him a traitor. I knew you was referring to Harold Perkins, but nah, look, man, this man, come on, Jerry. Come on, man. Like, let's just keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100. All right. Let's keep it 100. You can't help who you get drafted by. If you have a kid, I said this before, and some of y'all kind of made your skin crawl. If you had a kid that played football and he's good enough to go to the National Football League and the Falcons draft him, are you telling me that you're going to sit up here and call, like, man, I'm disgusted with you right now? Why would you do that? Like you can't help where you go unless you're the Mannings. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you're going to pull a Archie Manning and be like, no, man, look, Eli not going to San Diego. Like, no, man, come on. You can't help where you go. And this man is looking for an opportunity. This man is trying to feed his family. This man is trying to take care of his family. And and the Falcons drafted him because they feel like this guy has something to offer. So can't knock him for that. Yo, TJ, how you doing this evening now? If the offense and defense going to get healthy to make a pressure protect from Tyler Shuck during throw the ball and defense going to get blitzing on the field in 2026. I'm gonna just go ahead and paraphrase that, Jeremiah. I assume you're talking about the offense protecting for Tyler Shuck and the defense actually making some plays. But yeah, I agree. You know what I'm saying? I agree. I think that they're going to be better this season. Said Archie was right too. Man, I mean, both teams won at the end of the day. Like, both the Chargers and the Giants won. Now, if you look at the Chargers, they didn't go to the Super Bowl with Phillip Rivers, but he gave them stability at the quarterback position for over a decade, and so did Eli Manning. He got 2 Super Bowls out the deal, but I think both teams won at the end of the day. But it also just makes me wonder, what would have happened if Eli Manning would have went to San Diego? Like, what would have happened? Like, do I think that he would have ended up helping the Chargers make it to the Super Bowl? I mean, I don't know, but I just think that a lot of people despise, I believe his name was A.J. Smith, the general manager of the Chargers, like just thinking he was like the worst general manager in the game. So, I think that had a lot to do with it. But both teams won at the end of the day. Both have legendary quarterbacks. They both got legendary quarterbacks out the deal. So, but I'm pretty sure, like, if you was to put the Chargers on a polygraph test, they'll take those 2 Super Bowl championships over a decade of just, production at the quarterback position. Love Perk, but he's an op now. Yeah, pretty much. Man. Let's see, Archer was right. Says, I understand, TJ. Hey, I mean, you can't help where you go, Jerry. Like, I know it's just like, man, I can't believe this, but hey, man, you can't help where you go. A lot of Saints fans like Keontae Scott, but now he with the Bucks. A lot of fans like Ruben Bain. He went with the Bucks. Right? So you're gonna have to go after those 2 guys every single week on the offensive side of the football, and hopefully that pans out. But that's all she wrote for this episode of the Straight Up TJ Podcast. Really do appreciate each and every one of you's time. Thank you for stopping by. Once again, this show is brought to you by Lucy. Shouts out to Lucy for being the official sponsor of the Straight Up TJ Podcast. You can follow me on X at TJAY Jones 8. You can check out previous episodes of this show right here on the YouTube channel, and also check out the shorts that I put out every single day for the most part, talking about the New Orleans Saints and other topics pertaining to the National Football League. Appreciate the love and the support, and continue to support the channel. And hopefully you all are enjoying the content. And if you have not already, please hit subscribe, and make sure, please, pretty please, hit the like button on your way out. Till next time, I'll see you down the road.
DJ, yeah. Straight up, let's go. Welcome to Straight Up TJAY. Tap in, sit back, press replay. Been locked in with the Saints on a weekday. Now we talking every sport, every big play. Years on the grind, now we level up the view. From the dome to the world, get a better look at you. No script.